had a box that conquered Mother Nature, our houses were designed with a lot of features to keep us cool. The most vital one was the porch.
Porches have been around for thousands of years. Even the Parthenon in Athens had a porch.
Cultures all over the world had their own versions of the porch, but it became uniquely American when those influences merged from colonists in the States. The image of sitting on the porch in a rocker is 100% made in the USA. Here in the Deep South, the extended porch was built for shade, shelter, and ventilation. It was basically the air conditioning before the 20th century. Without the porch, it might have been difficult for early settlers to put a toehold in this hot climate. So when the rain is coming down on a day like today, you appreciate the porch as a means of shelter, but it's really, in my mind, a cooling machine.
It is a cooling machine. This particular house, a dog trot house, combines three different engineering principles. One, elevate the floor of the house above the level of the ground. That way, you get a better slipstream of air coming through the house. Second, build broad porches on the outside of the house. Now, those will shade you. They become the living rooms of the house in the warm months.
So that third principle,
to separate the two rooms and create a broad passageway right through the middle of the house.
that's the original air conditioning.
It was said during the hot summer months that George Washington would spend most of his time on his porch at Mount Vernon. Can you imagine a president today working from his porch?
An outside porch is something I think most of us are familiar with, but
Right here.
this is really a unique design.
This is a unique design.
I mean, this
That's
is
right.
a dog trot house.
This is a dog trot house, right?
The air is out here, it compresses into a smaller
Presses it
space,
through it,
picks up speed.
Exactly.
And
right.
now all of a sudden, when I'm standing in this area right here, slow-moving air starts to pick up, and I can feel that.
Precisely.
It cools me down.
Exactly.
They might not have known it at the time, but the people who built these houses were creating a wind tunnel. So there's this idea of splitting the middle for airflow, but now we've got two houses that they aren't connected directly.
Exactly. One house is kind of like the all-purpose living room and the kitchen, and the other half of the house is a little bit more private. That's the bedroom. More of the space of the house is outside than it is inside. That's really a symbol of Southern living right there.
It was so hot, people even slept out on porches. A lot of these sleeping porches sprung up during the tuberculosis epidemics, when doctors would prescribe fresh air for people with the lung disease.
The culture of the South was transferred very largely on these porches. That's where the courting is going on. You're singing your folk songs and you're playing your banjo, or you're telling the stories of the old times. All of those rich social events which transferred culture from older to younger generations, that's precisely where they occurred. It is the nexus of cultural transfer.
And at some point, the porch starts to fade away because now we introduce air conditioning. How significant is that?
When air conditioning becomes functional, people move, of course, into the interior of their house, and they leave that porch.